Yo, what is up, guys? It's your boy Mayne here. So sorry for the delay on the video. I know I said I was going to get it out yesterday. I just got back. As many of you may know, I was in Singapore and then I was in France with my fiance. So we had a wonderful time, but I am jet lagged as shit and somehow I'm sick. I'm hoping it's just a little bit of jet lag slash, being on a plane and nothing more because as you guys know, I literally had fucking pneumonia and was dying. Why is this so fucking loose? That's pissing me off. I was dying for literally a month. Just started feeling better. Maybe it's because I was traveling and my immune system was still weak from pneumonia plus antibiotics. I don't know. Anyways, welcome to Uptober, or is it Octobear? I don't know. But I'm going to kind of give you my view on the markets right now. We had a very bullish September, which was great, especially when you had everyone and their mother telling you that September was going to be bearish and it's historically bearish and all this other bullshit. Just trade the chart, right? Just because something happened last time doesn't mean it's going to happen this time. Just trade the chart. So if you are following along, I think I posted on Instagram and TikTok while I was away. Obviously, Telegram and the Haven and stuff as well got updates, but I'm trying to post more on Instagram and TikTok. The reason being is I like the ability to just kind of whip my phone out and just like fucking shoot some shit about the markets. So, before I even left, we had this higher low here, right? So, we talked about this on stream. I'm like, this is where you're going to long if you're going to long, right? It's an over under, your stop goes there. So that worked out very well. And then on Instagram and stuff, I talked about this long that formed right here. So just saying, hey, this was right when we had the FOMC announcement for the rate cut. I was like, this is where you want to long. This is where it should go up from. Very nice move up from there. So if you're not following me on Instagram and fucking TikTok, you should. I'll be posting more on there, over the coming weeks and months. It's the same handle. I'm at Trader Mayne on all platforms. So don't get scammed because there's a lot of those. But now the question is, what's happening from here? So I think I want to start on the weekly. And the reason I want to do that is we have a lot of people talking about market structure. Okay. Have we made a higher high on the weekly or not? Right? That seems to be a very common question that I'm seeing. You have a lot of people say that, yes, we've made a higher high here. This is your higher high on the weekly. This is now a higher low. Okay. I have other people who are saying, no, this is not a higher high because, this is a lower low. This is the high that formed the last low. So it's not a higher high until we break above here. Then there's other people who think, well, actually, this is your range because this high never breached and this didn't break below, right? So really, there's no right answer. And what I mean by this is the way that you determine market structure is actually up to you. Everyone is going to do it a different way, right? Some people use wicks. So they will say this is a lower low. It didn't close below this low, but it traded below. That's a lower low. You're going to have people say that this is not a lower low because it traded below, but it closed above. Okay? So you're going to have a variety of different ways that people view market structure. And depending on whether or not you use wicks or candle closes is actually going to determine whether or not you believe we have made a higher high on the weekly or not yet. Now, I do see a lot of people who are on the bull side, obviously, say that we've made a higher high. Some people who are wanting more of a correction, maybe saying we haven't yet. So it's really up to you how you determine what is the structure. Do you use wicks? Do you not use wicks? All you need to know, or all you need to do though, is once you decide, are you someone who's going to use wicks or candle closes for structure, you have to then determine which one you want, and then you have to do it the same every time. So if you use wicks, you got to make sure that that is what you use every single time. Okay, if you use candle closes, you got to use it every single time because when it comes to trading, TA, and things like that, you've got to be systematic. And for things to be systematic, they've got to be repeatable, meaning you have the things that go into the system, they've got to be the same way every time. So how I mark market structures, you guys know, is I use candle closes. Okay. So the way I view this, right, is here is your high, right? And here's your low, okay, on the weekly. So obviously within this internal trend, we have a high, a low, a lower high, candle close below, that's a lower low. Lower high here, right? However, I do not consider this a lower low because we did not close below this low. So to me, just within this kind of range here, I'm not going to include this run up here. I think that we're actually still within this structure because that is the lower high that formed the lower low, and we have not made a higher high above here, and we have not made a lower low above there, below there, because I do not use candle closes, or I use candle closes, excuse me. I do not consider wicks structure breaks. Now, if you use wicks, you would say that this is a lower low. Now, what's interesting here, okay, at least in my opinion, is if you use wicks or you don't, so let's say you say this is a lower low, then this is not a higher high yet. Why? Because this is the high that created the last lower low. So the high that created the last lower low is the one that needs to be breached in order to have a structure change on that given time frame. So for me, and for people who use the wicks, in my opinion at least, and how I view it, is that this is the range we're in still. So anything within here is just internal market structure. So within this little leg of price, we've got a low, higher high. We could potentially form a higher low here. But to me, it's an internal market structure shift. Now, an internal shift on the weekly to the bull side could be a clue that a external shift is coming on the weekly. And this is just kind of the preview of that, the foreshadowing of that. However, I don't really understand people who are saying, hey, this is a higher high, when it's like, okay, but this high did not form a lower low. This one did. This one did. And neither of those have been breached yet. So in theory, you could argue that we're still within that downtrend leg. And for me, I'm looking at these two levels here. I think a really easy level then to pay attention to, right, is right here, 65K. Let me just get my, where is it here? Because if we're able to get above 65K here, right, then there's a very good chance that this is going to start breaking higher, right? So that's a very easy, clear bias level. But I think regardless of whether you believe we have a higher low in or not, and another quick thing about structure, right? People will say, hey, okay, higher low. This is not a higher low until we make a higher high, because we could go like this and then we could dump again. So it was never a higher low. It was an internal higher low, right? This could be an internal higher low, but we could still come down and make a lower low. So until the high that made the last lower low is breached, there's no structure shift. That's at least how I view it. Again, it's relatively subjective. Whatever you decide to do, just make sure you do it every time. Now, in my opinion, we're still within actually this entire bullish weekly trend. So regardless of what's going on here, even if we get another dump, I'm still of the mindset that as long as we are within this weekly bullish range, wherever this consolidation ends up ending, I still think it is a higher low that is eventually going to be a higher high on the weekly. And I've said this for months now. Every time we've come down to, below 60K, down to 50K, I'm like, I'm not selling spot. I still think we're bullish on the weekly. I still think we're going to all-time high. So now the question really is, where's this lower time frame higher low going to form, right? So right now we've had this really beautiful move up in September. You've got a very clear level here now that we've deviated above and we're now trading back below. So what everyone's doing is they're trying to guess is the low in, right? So I drew this fib out. I posted this on Telegram. I think I did it on Twitter too. Got a nice little demand here. So I took a long. I'm willing to punt a long here because potentially this is the low. We got an H12 sweep. We've got our little OTE pullback. So maybe this is the low and this is going to push us back up to here. I'm not convinced we're going to take out this high until we reclaim 65K because I think we could very well do something like this. And then it's just like an over-under, kind of the inverse of this larger structure here, right? That could very well happen, right? So, but we've seen a lot of excitement in September. Bitcoin went up from, here to here, 25%. We've seen some altcoins go up 30, 40, 50%. Why is this exciting? Well, Bitcoin dominance hasn't even sold off yet. Sorry. Insane that I feel sick right now. This thing is still chugging along. We've seen in the last few weeks, we've seen many alts do multiples, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100, 200, 300% gains. And this thing hasn't even sneezed. When this pulls one of these, right, and a big old dump happens, that's when you're going to get your alt season. Now, obviously trying to get into it preemptively and see, okay, which of these alts are potentially starting to make higher lows and things like that, you can absolutely be doing that. But this thing hasn't turned over yet, so we still don't know. So I'm long biased here. Could we spike down again to 59.3, right? Could we spike below these lows? Sure. But I think this price leg here, I'm willing to take some bids here, hoping a bounce comes from here. And I'm probably going to target into here and then potentially into here and then see, right? Because above 65K, very easy, foot on the gas, we're going to new all-time high. But I'm willing to take some punts here. Now, I'm not ruling out the fact that, hey, this could just be a deviation of this, right? And we're now going to come up and then we're going to sell off and maybe we come back deeper into this wick. Maybe we make a new low. I don't know. Anything can fucking happen. So be cautious out there. I still think this is chop for the most part. However, on the high time frame, I view this structure still as bullish. Like, even if we trade lower again, right? Like, even if we come back down here, whatever, I still think that this is like just a massive fuck you bull flag, and it is going to end up with a candle towards all-time high and beyond soon. We've been going sideways for 6 months. I do not think the bull run is over. I think when this structure resolves, it resolves to the upside aggressively. And I think that happens sooner than later. So if we get an early month sell-off in October, I want to be a buyer because I do think October ends up being bullish. I think November and December, like, I think we're going to see new all-time high this year. That's only 2 months away. It's crazy, right? November, December. Yeah. Fuck. So, yeah, there's my fucking rant there. Ethereum, I think, looks a little shittier. Like, ETH BTC is just continuing to fucking just bleed. And there's an argument to be made, right, that Ethereum here is not done with its downside, and we could see, a move back down, to 2200. That, that, like, we're still in this range here, and maybe we're going to get another test of these lows here. So if Bitcoin does sell off again and Ethereum wants to come back and test, these lows below 2200 again, I think that's a snap buy. I think Ethereum's going to trade to 4K sooner than later, most likely after Bitcoin makes a new all-time high. Then we'll see that Ethereum run similar to previous cycles and your altcoins too. But to me, if we get another chance to buy these range lows, I'm a buyer. Like, I'm a buyer. If we come down here, I don't care if it goes below. I'm buying because I'm pretty confident that eventually we trade back up to here. So, that to me this is Ethereum we're talking about. You can get a big number in there in terms of size and get a 2x. So that's kind of what I'm looking for. Ethereum high time frame. I do think we're going to trade to this range high. Now, low time frame, similar to Bitcoin. Okay, where's this higher low going to form? Right, we've got this breaker here. We're trading within this fair value gap here. We've got our OTE. So similar to Bitcoin, I think you can argue, okay, it's worth taking a punt, because if this isn't a higher low here relative to this, and we're going to get a bounce here, then good chance we're going down here anyways, and I'll just long, down there after getting stopped out. So that's my view, kind of at a high level. I do think something we've got to pay attention to is the dollar here. Pesky motherfucker just won't break down. So we had those weekly closes below the range. If you remember, back in July of 2023, we closed below the ranges on the dollar. Everyone thought it was over, and it closed right back within and fucking sent. So there's an argument to be made. Sorry, just texting my wife here. There's an argument to be made, right, that, hey, maybe this is another deviation. And if that's the case and this thing starts trending up, that might be in line with a pullback, on crypto for another. Sorry, guys. She's like, order food. I'm coming home soon. I want food. Anyways, so something to pay attention to, right? If this thing starts trading back into the range here, back towards the range high, it's not going to be ideal for Bitcoin, right? Now, I know alts, a lot of people want to talk about alts. I think I'll do a longer alt-specific video. Like I said, we've had, this is a huge rally on WIF, 130 some odd percent. But for now, this is a lower high, right? So if Bitcoin dumps back down, a lot of these alts just rallied into lower highs, right? Some of them might make higher highs, but a lot of them have rallied into lower highs. Popcat is like one of the really, really fucking strong ones that looks amazing. If we get another correction on Bitcoin, like I'm aping Popcat at 75 cents if I get the opportunity. Cool story. I used to own 1.5% of this when it was worthless. So that's fun. I don't own any now. So, alts, I think that's something you want to pay attention to. Like Sui's been a really, really strong performer. It's completely reversed the down move, right? And again, Bitcoin dominance hasn't even sneezed. Sui's up 300%, right? So there are alts that have gone up and made higher highs in bullish structure like this, right? But something like WIF, for example, still hasn't made a higher high here, right? So you got to pick your spots. You look at something like TIA, still looks like dog shit relative to Bitcoin, right? So yeah, like, from the low, it went up 85%, but it's still in downward structure versus Bitcoin, right? So if you're going to be buying alts, you're going to be looking at alts, right? Check them against Bitcoin, check them against Ethereum, check them against each other. You can do WIF USD divided by Pepe USD. And now you can determine which of these you want to long. So think of this as ETH and think of this as BTC. So if this is in an uptrend, ETH is stronger. If this is in a downtrend, Bitcoin is stronger, right? So if this is in an uptrend, WIF is stronger than Pepe. If this is in a downtrend, Pepe is outperforming WIF. And you can just check that, right? So from April to June, Pepe smoked WIF. And let's just look at those charts next to each other. So let's look at Pepe here. And let's look at WIF here. So in April to June. So look at April here. Look at where my cursor is. Right? April, Pepe went from here to here. Went up 300%, April to June. Well, guess what? In April, that was the top on WIF. And it kind of went sideways and down 50%. Well, that's this chart right here. You can see this outperformance. So that's what you need to be doing right now. Like if you're trying to jump the gun on alt season or jump the gun on getting into alts, compare it against Bitcoin, compare it against Ethereum, compare it against the strongest coin in that sector. So if you're trading meme coins, okay, well, what's WIF look like versus Doge versus Bonk? What does Pepe look like versus WIF versus Popcat? Compare them together. See which one is actually outperforming. Right? And then make your decisions that way. There are absolutely some altcoins that are putting in bullish structure versus Bitcoin versus ETH versus Solana. And there's some that aren't, right? So don't get caught trading an underperformer willingly if you have the information available to you to find out which one is outperforming, which one is the stronger asset, right? Like Sol ETH still at this level, right? Still at this level. That's been at for months. Boom, boom, boom. Eventually, is this thing going to pop up? I don't know. Looking at Solana here, similar to ETH, right? We're still in this big range. So if we do get another correction on Bitcoin, I think if you can get in Solana, between 120 and 100, if we get that lucky, that we get another deep correction on Bitcoin and we get a correction on something like Solana, that'd be amazing. But for now, right, this has not put in a higher high yet. Right? Similar to Bitcoin in terms of the structure argument, like is this a lower low? Regardless, it hasn't made a higher high. So you've got to be looking at all these charts against each other. I think the good news is clearly volatility is back. That's awesome. We just got to be careful here because we're at a point of inflection, in my opinion, where we're either putting in a higher low relatively soon here on Bitcoin, and then we're going to trade much higher, or there's a very good chance Bitcoin is trading in the low 50Ks again before potentially getting bullish. So I'm willing to take that stab. I think the risk reward here for a long, just kind of also being at the midpoint of this entire 6-month consolidation, I think it just is worth taking a punt here. Like if you just eyeball it, don't even use your fib tool. Like this to me looks like the middle of this zone. And just from eyeballing it, okay, held, lost the level, resistance, right? Back above. Like this seems like the midpoint. Worth punting here for me personally, at least. And then we see what happens. So I've got a lot of stuff planned. I'm home for the next like month and a half, which is exciting. Hopefully I can make some fucking shekels. Spent a lot on that trip. So what I've got going on, obviously we've got breakout stuff happening. So if you're not breakout, we're absolutely crushing. You can trade all the meme coins with us. We got all the fucking meme coins. Mother, Pop Cat, fucking Simon's cat, your mom's fucking cat. All of them are available to trade breakout. It's leverage. I'm not saying you need to use breakout instead of your personal account. You can do both, right? We've got people hitting fucking 100Xs trading breakout. They're putting in $800 and they're walking away with fucking 20, 30, 40K. So check out breakout. If you got any questions, of course, let me know. The Haven's still popping, things like that. I've got some new stuff with the indicator going on, which is awesome. So I'll talk about that in future videos. Something I'm hoping to start next week, and I'm going to be doing a few times a week. I'm probably going to start with either 2 or 3 a week. I'm going to start doing some live trading. So if you follow my buddy Crypto Face, he's a homie of mine. Super great guy. He live streams himself trading. It's not something I see a ton of people do. So I'm going to do it. I'm going to load up an account. And I'm going to fucking live stream it. I'll put, I don't know, 50, 100K on there. And I'm going to just take trades live. And so there'll be longer streams. I won't necessarily be on stream the entire time, but I'm going to execute, ideally, if I see a trade on stream. And you're going to see the thought process. How do I actually go about executing on it? And then I'm going to let the stream run along with the trade. Hopefully we make some money. Maybe we mix in some giveaways and stuff. But I think it'll just be a nice change and something new and exciting for you guys. Just a little bit different kind of content. I don't think it's something a lot of people do. And I think I can make it fun. And who knows? Maybe I'll make it a variety stream. I'll fucking shoot the shit, gamble, play some video games while this trades are going on. Who knows? But I do think it'll be a lot of fun. I am going to be trying to post more actively on Instagram and TikTok. I know it's gay and I know it's lame. I don't want to be this fucking, influencer. But at this point, I've built this crazy business with Breakout. And I'm the marketing face for it, right? So a really good place for me to market stuff is by posting content outside of just the echo bubble that is Twitter, more YouTube stuff, hence the live stream trading, more Instagram and TikTok stuff. So if you want more kind of just quick off the cuff stuff, what am I doing when I'm entering trade, quick updates, fucking what am I doing during the day? Me working out my neck at the gym. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm 34 and I'm going to be posting on TikTok. Just make sure you're following me on those other platforms. I'd appreciate it. But yeah, I'm looking forward to getting some money with you guys. It's been a very long 6 months, but I do think we are getting very close to new all-time highs. I think within the next 60 days, I wouldn't be surprised if we see new all-time highs on crypto. So that's exciting. There's some money to be made. So let's fucking get that money together. I appreciate y'all. I'll talk to y'all soon. Now I got to go order some Korean fried chicken for my wife or else she's going to be mad. So I will talk to you guys soon. Peace.